Howdy and welcome to the Confidence Through Health podcast. I'm Jerry Snyder. As an elite level athlete, owner of All In Health and Wellness, and author of the book Confidence Through Health, my goal is to help you achieve your goals and dreams using health as the conduit to get there. So I want to take a minute to thank our sponsor for this episode, Luna Juice Bar. If you are in the Waco area, stop by Luna Juice Bar or check out their food truck at the Magnolia Silos for your healthy food, your juice, your smoothies, everything that you need to get your body heading in the right direction from a nutrition standpoint. Check out Luna Juice Bar. The link is on my website, confidencethroughhealth.com, or you can go to lunajuicebar.com to look at the menu and order online as well. So thank you to our sponsor, Luna Juice Bar. Thank you for joining me today on the Confidence Through Health podcast. My name is Jerry Snyder, and I wanted to talk today about really answering a question that came from a client. And he and his wife were talking about food and what happens when you eat food. And specifically, they were talking about really not eating, but drinking something like hot chocolate. And they were like, how come it's this little bitty amount, but it adds up to more weight in your actual body? And it's an interesting question, and it's one of those things that plagues a lot of people that they get, caught up in the numbers game of it, and then get so frustrated and don't know what to eat anymore, and how their body's going to react to it, and then they stop doing anything healthy because they just say, "Oh, screw it, I can't do anything healthy because every time I do one single thing off the plan, I gain weight, and I don't understand why because I shouldn't." So what happens is actually similar to if you think about something like something that's in the YouTube verse out there of like elephant toothpaste. If you haven't ever seen this, go look it up. Or you could think of like your kid or a kid you may know that had, a science fair project of doing a volcano. And you take two little small amounts of two different chemicals, but you combine them and you get this big reaction. You get this big overflow of, reactive substance. And then that stuff usually tends to dissipate down again, back to a normal size, or back to the size he was. But the reaction itself is, the energy that's being burned in that reaction is actually causing the substance to expand quite vehemently in some things, like elephant toothpaste. Same type of thing is going on in your body when you eat something, especially when you eat something that is high in calories. So calories, basically, all a calorie is a measurement of energy. So it's a measurement of how much energy is produced by whatever chemical reaction is going on in your body. So it's basically measuring like the heat put off. It's measuring the reaction that's put off in the body. So if you eat something that's higher in calorie, basically what's happening is you're having more energy production, more, refuse, more waste, more product, more substance is being produced through that in different forms, depending on what the catalyst was, what the food was that you ate. So those calories then are producing more than what it was in its original state, because it's interacting with the acid in your stomach. Well, it's interacting with your mouth, in the saliva, in the chemicals in your mouth. It's interacting with the acid in your stomach. It's interacting with the bacteria and everything that's in your gut. And as it goes through that process, it's changing its substance. It's changing its form. It's being broken down into many different parts. As a whole, those parts may be a certain size, but when they break out, they could very easily become bigger. They could very easily, like I said, produce energy in a higher calorie volume, which is why you can look at, take a stick of a carrot, and you put it up next to a candy bar, and they could be the same physical size in measurements, But the calories that are going to be produced, typically the way to experiment with that is just burn each one. Like burn them. Which one's going to burn longer? The candy bar is going to burn longer. Why? Because there's a lot more calories being measured. There's a lot more energy and heat being produced from the substances in the candy bar. The candy bar is probably going to become bigger than the carrot. What the carrot's going to drop down in size because most of what's in the carrot is going to be liquid that's going to burn off, and then it's going to be just a little bit of fiber volume left. So it's going to burn down in size, which is why if you eat things that are higher in calorie, that are especially sugars, sugar burns a lot. Your processed foods, because they're going to have preservatives in there. The preservatives are going to burn a lot. Those things are going to burn longer and produce more volume. So if you consume that and you don't burn that immediately, that energy has to be stored. So that energy is then stored in your cells in your body. Unfortunately, I think we would all like to have our body work in a fashion where we eat something, we burn what we need, and then we get rid of what we don't need. And then we can eat whatever we want. We can eat whenever we want, whatever we want. It doesn't matter because we're going to burn what we need and then we're going to get rid of the rest. But it doesn't work that way. Our body says, I'm going to eat. I don't know what I'm going to eat again. Even though we've told itself, we've tried to program it, our body still, at a subconscious level, the triggers are, I don't know when food is going to be around again. And so because of that, you store instead of eliminate that excess energy. So that excess energy is stored as fat to be used at a future date. So that's why you can eat something or drink something, say drink something like hot chocolate that is small in volume. You may drink, say, his specific question is like, I drink like, it's like a quarter of a pound maybe of hot chocolate, but then it adds to a pound on the scale when I weigh myself. So that's all because of the excess energy that's produced, and it's got to be stored somewhere. If you eat a carrot, you're going to burn a little bit. You're probably going to use that energy, some of it in the digestion of the carrot, some of it just throughout the day before your next time you eat. And therefore, you're not storing anything. So that's a real basic way to look at how your body works with food and how you can eat what doesn't seem like a lot and then gain weight off of that. And then a flip side of that is that if you eat the proper calories, so if you eat the proper vegetables, you eat the proper nutrients in your food, and you don't overeat, that's the formula for maintaining a proper healthy weight. You don't have the 2,000 calorie diet is a misnomer. It's being proved wrong because most people don't need 2,000 calories because most people in today's world are not as active as we were in the past, especially not as active when we were mostly an agricultural, society. Now we're more industrial, we're more office-based, we're more sedentary lifestyle. Our entertainment is sedentary, video games, TV. We're not out and about doing things as much as we used to be. As much as you think your life is crazy and you're busy and you're always on the move and always on the go, think about how much of that always on the go you're actually sitting down. You're sitting down driving, you're sitting down on a bus for, you're in some sort of transit. So you're not actually walking, you're not riding a bike, you're not running from place to place. You're sitting. You walk very minimally, which means, of course, you're not in the sunlight very much, which I've done a podcast on that. So you can go check that episode out and what that means to your health. But because you're not doing those things, when you still eat at a 2,000 calorie diet, you're not coming close to burning 2,000 calories in a day, which is why the prescription for exercise has increased over the years from when I was a kid, when the 70s, early 80s, the recommendation was, and when I was in school learning about exercise and learning about the recommendation from the government, from many, many different areas, American Heart Association, Cancer Society, Diabetes Association, all these organizations that have studied it and understand what exercise can benefit your health. The recommendation was 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week. And that was it. To supplement the lifestyle that you had in the 70s and 80s, because people were much more active. We were not, before cable television, before video games. And so there wasn't a whole lot of extra entertainment. There was the ease to get entertainment was not there. So you were out and about, you were doing things outside, you were socializing, you were walking in your neighborhood. A lot of people were walking to work because of the convenience of it. As we've gotten more spread out with our communities, that's typically not something that you see. So now the recommendation is an hour a day, every day, 7 days a week. Well, we went from 90 minutes, an hour and a half a week as the recommendation, to 7 hours. That's almost a 7-fold increase. Like, that's huge. That's a huge increase in just a short amount of time, because our lifestyles have changed so much, and because we're not changing our eating to reflect the lifestyle change. So when you think about the food that you're eating, think about what that calorie actually means. Is that this is how much energy is being produced in my body. If I'm not going to spend that energy through some sort of activity, doesn't have to be exercise. You don't have to go for a run. You don't have to go for a bike ride. You don't have to go lift weights. You can garden. You can mow your yard. You can, all these things burn, vacuum, doing the dishes, all these things burn calories. Granted, some burn more than others, but all these things burn calories. And so when you eat, you have to eat. And I've said this in my book, Confidence Through Health. You have to eat with the goal being, how do I fuel myself to my next meal, whenever that meal is? The more you eat at one meal, the longer you can wait to your next meal, based on the amount of calorie output between meals. So we really shouldn't eat on a 3 meals a day schedule that we've been trained to be on. It's very much a by the person plan for eating. If you're somebody like me, who is an athlete, who does get an hour of exercise a day on most days, who does a lot of excess besides just the dedicated exercise piece. Yeah, I eat probably a little more frequently than some people, but I also eat very detailed, very specific calorie intake, very specific micronutrient intake. And it's geared towards, how do I make sure that my body has the energy I need the next time I need to do an output, and when that output is going to be. So you have to make sure that you understand that calorie input means that you have to spend that output, or it's going to be stored. So if you're going to drink your hot chocolate, which I would recommend trying to do it as low sugar as possible, but if you're going to drink that hot chocolate, you can still be 100% healthy drinking the most unhealthy hot chocolate you can find. You can still be healthy if your output will burn that off before it has a chance to be stored. So how long does that take to be stored? That depends on your metabolism. That depends on you as a person. That depends on what your history has been to get you to the place where you are in your life right now. So if you're somebody like me who's an avid exerciser, is an athlete who is, exercising every day, that output's going to come pretty quick, and I'm going to burn that off before it can be stored. If you're somebody who's a sedentary life, who's overweight, maybe obese, but doesn't spend a lot of time exercising, doesn't spend a lot of time on their feet, spend a lot of time sitting, both at a desk job or at home. You get home and the first thing you do is turn the TV on or turn the video games on or sit down and try to avoid everybody else, watch your phone, and spend hours like that. The average person in America spends 4 to 6 hours a day watching television, or in front of the television, I should say, between video games and television. 4 to 6 hours a day sitting watching television. That's a lot of time that you're not burning calories and you're just absorbing and saving that energy. So what you want to do is make sure that you're thinking about it from the standpoint of whatever you eat, you have a certain number of calories that are going to be created from that, from the internal processes, from the chemical reactions going on your body as part of the digestion process. Those chemical reactions are going to produce energy. That energy has to be used or stored. So if you eat a lot, your only option is to, at least to maintain your health, your only option is you're going to have to exercise a lot. So you can cut down how much you eat and maintain where you're at. You can exercise a little more and start to burn some of those calories. And so a key piece of that process, just to throw this in there, is that if your goal is to lose weight, it's what you eat. It's the kind of calories you eat, the kind of nutrients you eat. Those are key pieces of the puzzle, as well as boosting your immune system. Those are key pieces of the puzzle. When you exercise based on when you ate is also a key piece of the puzzle. Because if you eat and you know that you ate to have excess and then you go and exercise, you're simply burning that excess. You're not going to burn any extra. You're going to maintain where you're at. So you could exercise a lot more than you are right now. You're just going to maintain where you're at, and you're going to get frustrated because you're exercising more, but you're not losing weight and you don't understand why. So make sure that when you're exercising to burn the fat that's been stored. So that means exercising first thing in the morning before you eat, because your stomach should be empty from all night of not eating. And then when you exercise before you eat, that gives you a really good chance to burn some of those calories. And then not eating right away, right after you finish exercising. Give yourself 30 or 45 minutes or longer if you can, to then ingest any calories. And that's going to help you burn that stored energy. If you're an exerciser in the afternoon, just make sure that you're giving yourself plenty of time to digest the food you ate, which takes 2 to 3 hours. Okay, so you want to digest the food you ate, then make sure that that energy gets burned off, but you're going to have to also burn off that energy plus the excess, so that you don't store the energy. You just, you're not just burning just the energy you just ate. You're not burning a little bit of it and storing some more, that you're burning all of that off and then tapping into the stored fat, the stored energy in your body to get rid of that. And that's really how you need to think about it, how you need to attack it, how you need to plan it. And so I have a lot of people that will tell me, but food's entertainment. And food can be entertainment. Not every meal should be entertainment. Not every meal needs to be or should be thought of as entertainment. If you go to a meal with friends and you're thinking the meal is entertainment, you're missing out on the key piece of the ingredient is the friends are the entertainment. The meal is fuel to get you to the next place. Does that mean you can't ever have a nice dessert? That you can't ever splurge on a meal? No, by no means does that mean that. You can always do that. The key is if you do that, you have to think about the consequences and you have to understand what you're going to have to do afterwards to either get where you want to go, to maintain where you're at, or understand that there's going to be consequences going in the wrong direction with your health if you don't do something about it, if you don't address it. So that's what moderation means, is to do something in moderation. Do it every now and then, but know that you have to get back on track. And unfortunately, most Americans, by statistics, and the recent statistics show that we're going in the wrong direction still. When I first wrote 2018, when I first published Confidence Through Health, we were at just over 70% of the country was overweight or obese, and now it's closer to 74%. We're just like 2-3 years later, and the statistics are showing we're still going in the wrong direction, which is not good. And so people are not understanding how to properly process food in their body, to properly fuel their body, and they don't understand what calories are. They don't understand how they work in their body. So that's part of the reason why I do this podcast. That's part of the reason why I'm bringing this to you. Part of the reason why I wrote Confidence Through Health and No More Sugarcoating, which just came out, my new book. So you can find both of those on Amazon. But if you have any questions that has stirred some concerns, you want to address them, reach out to me, Jerry at allinhealthandwellness.com, or you can send us a comment on Apple Podcasts, where you can find this podcast, or you can comment on YouTube, as I'm starting to put these on YouTube as well. So I hope this has helped, but and I know it stinks because you're talking about you have to do biology, you have to do math to figure all this stuff out, but it's really pretty simple. All you have to do is really remember, if you're going to eat in excess from a calorie standpoint of what you think you're going to need till the next piece, then you need to do a little extra exercise. You need to do a little extra movement to be able to burn those calories off so that you can maintain where you're at. And you can find plenty of calculators to figure out what your calorie intake need is and all that kind of stuff. You can go to my website, allinhealthandwellness.com. I've got a link for calculators on there, but you can search them on the internet and find there's a lot of different calculators for caloric intake. And I would do it I would put them in there as honest as you can be, as far as what your goal is, and what you're actually accomplishing on a day-to-day basis from an exercise standpoint. Are you a moderate mover? Are you not? Are you sedentary? Are you more sedentary than you're willing to admit? And as they say, when there's a problem, the first step is overcoming denial. The first step to getting to the cure is overcoming denial. You have to understand that there is a problem. So I think most Americans, most people in the Western societies that follow a Western diet don't admit, they're not willing to admit that there is a problem with their caloric intake, and that there is a problem with understanding how to operate their body in a healthy way. So reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. Hope this has been helpful, and we look forward to hearing from you on the next podcast.
She asked me if I wanted to dance.
Thanks for checking out the All in Health and Wellness Confidence Through Health podcast. Our goal is to use health as a conduit to help you reach your goals in life.
A little lighter than me. I'm about to black out. Her grip is getting tighter on me. I think I like it deep inside. I feel the fire in me. She like the milky, see me creaming to the coffee in me. She got soul in her sway.